Hi, I'm Josh from eSpares, and in this video I'll be helping you to diagnose, control and program problems in your tumble dryer. Now, tumble dryers come in two types, vented and condenser. Vented dryers tend to be a simpler design, primarily just using an element and a motor, and the timer on a vented dryer is similar to a simple time switch found on quite simple microwaves. Condenser dryers, on the other hand, tend to be a slightly more complicated design. As the name suggests, they use a condenser to extract the moisture from the moist air as it passes over it, before then putting the air back into the wash load to help it to dry. Now, the first fault we're going to have a look at is if your dryer is blowing a fuse as soon as it's switched on. Now, in most cases, this is caused by the presence of a short circuit, and it's most likely that the short will exist in the heating element, although it can occasionally crop up elsewhere. Now, on this particular dryer, although the heater is located on the back, the connections to it are actually inside the dryer. So to get to them, I first need to remove the top of the dryer and then remove the side panel. Okay, so now I've got the top and the side panel off. I can just turn it round. Now, the connections to the heater are here. So if I just pull this plug out, I'm going to grab a multimeter and place that onto a low resistance setting and just place the probes of the meter onto the two terminals inside the plug to the heater. Now, for a working heater, I'm looking for a reading of between 20 and 50 ohms. So on here I'm getting about 25, 26, so that shows that the element should be okay. Now, it can sometimes be the case that you'll do that test when a fuse is blowing, and the reading you get on the meter would show that the element is still working. Now, of course, if it's blowing fuses, then you know that's not the case. Now, that can be caused by the presence of a short to earth, perhaps caused by a bra wire coming into contact with the element. Now, the way you test that is to just place one of the probes onto one of the terminals in the plug, and place the other probe onto the metalwork of the appliance. Now, if there is any sort of short circuit going to earth, you will get a reading on the meter, but here I'm not getting any sort of reading, so that shows that there isn't a short present. If your dryer is causing the electrics to trip, that can be caused by a leakage of current to earth. Now, the way to test that is quite similar. It can show up just by placing your meter onto a high resistance setting, and then place again one of the probes onto one of the terminals inside the plug and place the other probe onto the metalwork. Now, if there is any sort of leakage, again, you should get some sort of reading on your meter, but in this case I'm not getting any reading, so that shows that the circuit is complete and there isn't any leakage or short present. Now, another cause of a blowing fuse is a faulty mains filter. The mains filter is fitted in most tumble dryers and it's designed to stop interference from getting into the circuit. Now, you can test the mains filter for the presence of a short circuit. Just grab your meter and place it on a low resistance setting and trace the wires back from the filter. In this case, they go into this plug here. So I'm just going to place the probes of the meter onto the terminals inside the plug. And any short circuit is going to show up as a reading of less than 3 or 4 ohms. Now, in this case, I'm not getting a reading, but if you are getting a reading of a short circuit, disconnect the filter and check again. If that's removed the short circuit, then obviously the fault lay in the filter. On the other hand, if disconnecting the filter doesn't get rid of the short circuit, try disconnecting the motor and the element and testing again for a short. If the short has gone, then that would indicate that it lay probably in the motor, seeing as we've already tested the element. On the other hand, if removing the motor and the element doesn't get rid of the short circuit, then it's most likely to be in the control board and you'll need to replace it. Now, if you do have any sort of fault related to the control board in the dryer, it can be quite difficult to actually prove the presence of the fault. The control board is responsible for turning on and off all the different circuits in the dryer, such as the heating circuit, the motor circuit. If your condenser dryer has a pump which pumps water from down at the bottom up into the reservoir at the top, it will also have a pump circuit. Now, if you are experiencing a problem with any of those areas in your dryer, it's much better to test the individual circuit first before suspecting that the problem lies with the control board. Obviously, once you've tested the circuit and you haven't found the presence of a fault, then it's most likely that the fault will be in the control board itself and you'll need to replace it. Now, if you need help diagnosing any other faults in your tumble dryer, check out our other eSpares videos. And spares for tumble dryers, along with other appliances, are available on the eSpares website. Thanks for watching.